Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breathe Motivation. My name's Anthony Hesser. I'm the host for this show. So glad to join you guys this week. We have 2 days until 2020. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I sure did. Spent some time with some family, my wife's family. It's been a great deal. I was going to take a break for the last couple of weeks, but I got inspired by a conversation we had at the kitchen table in Spanglish, right? My family-in-law speaks Spanish. They're from Mexico City. I speak English. I speak a little bit of Spanish, definitely not fluent, but we're able to have conversations, which is great. So we had a great conversation. My brother-in-law just got, engaged. So he's got a fiance now while he's here in Dallas. And I thought that was really exciting. We're really excited for him. And they were telling their story about how they met, and it was great. And then somehow we got into the conversation about how my wife and I met, and it was a great thing. And, it was very emotional as we were talking about it. We kind of, we're talking about it. When we met, I was going through a lot of hard times as far as work and kind of figuring out my life. I was, I think 22, 23, not making very much money. And, my story is a little weird. I don't even know why my wife is with me at this point. I stood her up a couple of times because I was so nervous and shy. And, our first date, I didn't have enough money to pay for it. I slid my card, it declined. It was ugly, but she stuck through it, and I'm so grateful for that. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. 2019, I've learned a lot, and this conversation kind of led to that. So I'll tell you a little bit about my experience in that year. The year was 2010 into 2011. Because 2011 we got married. So I wanted to share this because, I started crying. And surprise, men cry, right? I want to help that stigma. Men cry. Everybody cries. I was crying. And I wasn't crying because I was sad. I was crying because I'm grateful. It really helped me to really put into perspective what I learned in those years, because, I was doing door to door. I was selling cable door to door, 100% commission. I had no hourly. I had no salary. I had nothing. I didn't even get gas money. And a lot of us struggled in this position. And this is why I'm so thankful, because I made it through this. I spent 11 months, probably 11 months too long in this position. But I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about, and I probably didn't realize it until I actually had this conversation, at this kitchen table. But there was a lot of things that I really kind of pushed through to get better. I'm not a very patient person, and that's something I always want things like done, and I think I can get things done quicker than I can. Sometimes, and it gets frustrating. So I've been working on that portion of my life, is being patient, allowing time to happen. When I start companies, I'm like, oh man, it's going to sell right away. I think this year I've sold maybe 20 candles, with Velavida candle. And I started that back in July, but I've had a lot of great opportunities. But one of the things that I learned throughout this time, with doing door to door, it's a rough thing. I worked 6 days a week. It was hard. There was a lot of rejection, a lot of no's. And it kind of beats your face in. And at the time, I wasn't making good money. I think that 11 months, I made, $10,000 or something like that. And honestly, sometimes now that I look at it, I'm like, man, how did I make it? I should have been, getting food stamps or something, but I always find a way to make it. And that's one of the things in life, is that I don't think we give enough credit to ourselves in what we can endure. I think humans, we can endure. We're relentless. And I want you guys to know that you're relentless and you can do whatever you want to. Sometimes things don't go your way. Sometimes there's ups and downs of life. But no matter what, if you look at where you're at right now, guess what? You've made it, right? You've made it. And a lot of people say, you shouldn't reflect and say, hey, I've made it. But at the end of the day, you have made it to where you are now. That doesn't mean that you're going to get any, you could always get worse. But that also doesn't mean that you're comfortable with being where you're at. It's just acknowledging that, hey, I made it this far. I can go even further. But that was one of the things that, when we had this conversation, one of the things that came up during that conversation and what made me cry was, I remember going into a convenience store and I was hungry and I was going into the office and I didn't have any food at the house. So I was like, oh, let me just go get like a sausage, hot dog thing and get an energy drink. And it was probably nothing but like maybe $3.50, $4 at the time. And I go and I slide my card and guess what? It doesn't go through. And I was like, man, I can't even buy anything for $4. Like, I was just like, wow. And out of the kindness of the heart, the lady at the register is like, hey, I can't let you take the energy drink, but go ahead and take the sausage. And I was so thankful at the time and so grateful. And, I was, you don't think of those things, but it was kind of a moment at the table, at the kitchen table that, man, I've come a long way. I've come a far way from where I was. And I think sometimes we forget how, all these things that we've gone through. And sometimes I think we forget to be grateful for the things we do have, especially around this time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or all the holidays, New Year's. I think sometimes, this is kind of the time where we all take time to reflect. But I wanted to share that because, man, I think a lot of us go through hard times, and at the time it looks like things aren't going to get better, but they do get better. And I want you guys to know that, even if you feel like you're not in a good spot now, it can always change. It can always get better, because I've been there. We've all been there, right? Think of a time where you didn't think you're going to make it through, right? And I go back to my anxiety and depression and all those things that I've gone through. And I look at those times and I'm just like, man, I made it through those things. And I thought that, I would never make it through that. And here I am today talking to you guys and reaching out, and having you guys reach out to me, and, we're all helping each other and supporting each other. And I think that's a really important thing to remember, is to be grateful for the things that we do have. It might not look great right now, but it can always change. Things can change overnight for you. But just remember to continue to, have a positive attitude, because I think a lot of the things that we focus on, if we focus, for me, when I focus on anxiety or focus on situations or depressed, or, hey, I'm not enjoying my job right now. If I start to focus on all those things that I don't enjoy, I miss out on a lot of opportunities to enjoy the moment and really understand, and, kind of have these epiphanies at kitchen tables that, things were really bad at one point, but they got better. And I think a lot of the times, I have to focus and put my mind onto positive things, because I always, like we talk about this negative talk track. You can have this negative, negative mindset and soundtrack in your mind, and it can be very hard to get out of that. So be cautious of what you think about, especially going into the new year. You have an opportunity to be the best you can be every day, and what you feed the most is what's going to grow. And I know for me personally, in the last couple months, even when my son was born, we went through a very hard time with him staying in the hospital and things like that. And, it was very easy for me to fall into the trap of, saying, man, why did this happen? But it was an opportunity to really, have patience, live in the moment, and be present in the moment. I think that was a lesson that I had to learn. And these lessons will continue to be something that we really, really are going to continue to learn from. And I think that's exactly what they are. And you might not realize it at the time, but as we reflect on these things and these times, and as you have conversations, be in the moment and realize that, hey, maybe this is an opportunity for me to learn and grow. And I think that's important for us moving into the new year, is to be reflective and be diligent in focusing on the things that are right for us, because that's what's going to lead us to great success. That's what's going to help you find purpose and passion in life. It's a very important thing that we, stay focused, stay happy, not everybody's going to be happy every day. I'm not happy every day, but at the end of the day, as we continue to move forward and get better as ourselves, and express that self-love and kindness on yourself. Be very nice to yourself this year. I was very hard on myself, a majority of my life. And, I can no longer allow myself to talk to myself the way that I do. I would never allow anybody else to talk to me that way. So I think it's important for you to really understand how you talk to yourself and how you allow other people to treat you as well, because I think that's a great thing for us to really understand, is that, we can be better people, and we need to surround ourselves with better people. And that starts with ourselves, and really taking responsibility for our own actions and our own behaviors and our own thoughts, and, being aware of those things. Just know, you don't have to get caught up in those and spend a whole lot of time in that and, trying to figure out everything. Not everything is meant to be figured out, but as you go in through this and you have that patience with yourself, you do love yourself, you give yourself kindness, and be grateful. Be forever grateful for the things you do have, because those are the things that do matter. We're never guaranteed tomorrow, ever, right? So live the best you can live today, tomorrow, if we're blessed to have that. Let's just stay focused on giving ourselves the love and attention that we need, so that we can give the love and attention to the people that we want to give to as well. Because if you don't take care of yourself, guess what? You can't take care of anybody else either. So make sure to have that patience with yourself, give yourself some love, some kindness, and just be forever grateful, right? So let me leave you this quote: gratitude makes sense of the past, brings peace for today and creates a vision for tomorrow. So as we lead into 2020, Happy New Year to you. I hope you guys have a great new year. I hope you guys are safe. Be safe out there. Enjoy time with your friends, family, whatever that looks like to you. However, if you read a book going into the new year, you go to bed early and you don't wait until 12 o'clock. Good for you. Do your thing. That's what it's meant to be, is your own thing, your own, whatever you want it to be. That's what life is about, is for you to live the best life you can. And that allows the best life for others around you and in your life. So take care of yourself. Let's stay focused. Let's stay sharp on our ideas and stay kind to yourself. Give yourself some love. Give yourself a pat on the back, because guess what? You're here. You made it. And you're going to continue to make it. And let's be positive. So as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. And I will see you in 2020. Thanks.